Hi everyone. In this video, I will show how to automate the TextBox, ready button, and also checkbox. Okay, so let's start it without further ado. I am going to this website and let's actually go to the main page. So let's go to the main page. All right, so this is the website. And to go to the text box, checkbox, and ready button, we need to click on this. When we click on this, here we got a text box, checkbox, and ready button. All right, so the first thing that we need to do is find this element, right? So how we can find this element? We can use this text, right? We can use this text to find this element, or we can use, we also got ID. So let's see, we got this, we can use this ID over here. All right, so what we can do, let's say that it was div, right? Div ID. We got this ID, okay? So we got this ID, which is the entire page. And now we wanna go where? We wanna go come to this element, right? Right here. So as you see, these are actually the children of this ID, right? These are the children of this ID. So how we can move from this ID to here, right? We can use the child XPath access, right? So child, and then we have div, right? So we got a lot of div right here, but I keep pressing enter so that I want to know which one is element. Which one is this, the one that we are looking for. So there you go. This is the 7th one, right? 7. So what we can do is to surround the entire element, surround this element, and then we can use the indexes. We can use the bracket to locate our element. And I say 7, right? All right, so, okay, what's going on here now? Let's actually try this. Oh yeah, I made a mistake that the parenthesis is supposed to be at the end. I open up between the slash. That's why it wasn't working. Now we can use the bracket and number 7. There you go. So now we identify this by using the child, by using the ID and child XPath access. All right, so let me create a class for this. So let's name this class as what? Checkbox and radio and also text box, right? Text box. All right, so let's call it that way. And then we are gonna need the main method. I'm gonna copy some of the basics of the driver, which we already covered this in the previous video, so I don't need to type that again, right? So let's do this. All right. So the first thing that we need to do, what we already identified this element. We want to click on this. We want to click on that one. All right. So let's go and store this element, and we are going to click this elements. We're going to use driver.find methods, then the class, and also we are going to use XPath, right? So XPath. Let me actually close this, and then we need the. All right, so now that we find it, what we want to do, we want to use the wait element to be clickable and waits. And then as soon as it's clickable, we are going to click on it, right? So we are going to click on this, and just for the purpose of demonstration, I'm gonna add some weight because this is pretty fast, so as you guys can see. And I need to add the method signature. So let's add the method signature, and then after that, I'm gonna driver dot quit, close the browsers. All right, so after we open this, and then what we want to do, we want to click on this text box, right? So let's actually find that as well. We want to click on this text box. We can use this text, right? We can use this text. This is pretty straightforward, simple. We can use spam text, and then that's it. So we identify this, and we are gonna call this what? So let's actually store this first. We're gonna call this full name, let's say, call it field, right? And then we're gonna use expand to, I don't know, element. Again, we are gonna go through the same process. Element to be clickable. Sorry, so this is actually not yeah, we want to actually click on this, right? But I put in the wrong name. So let me actually change that name, because this was a text box, right? Text box field. All right, so just rename that text box field. Copy this, and I'm gonna have it here. All right. Okay, so after we click on the text box, then what we want to do, we want to send our full name, right? So this one has an ID. This is pretty simple. I'm going to copy that ID, and I'm going to write this again element, and I'm going to call this full name field, and equal to other file element. And then in that case, I'm going to use CSS because this is simpler, easier than expand right here. This is pretty short. What I want to do, I want to go through the same process. Not the clickable, because we don't want to click, right? We want to use another method. So let's say we can say visibility of the element, and then we can say, so what we can do with a text box, with a text box, we can send text, right? So in Selenium, there is a method that's called send keys. Send keys basically can use to send a string or sequence of characters to a text box. And right here, I want to send this name. So let's say that we can call it John Doe. So this is the name that we want to send. All right, so in the same way, let's actually find email as well, right? Let's find email. And then I'm going to call this CSS. All right, so let's actually find the email as well. Email, I believe, pretty easy too. So we have this ID. It's pretty simple. And then we are going to use CSS selector. And there you go. So we find the email as well. Now what we do, we are going to be going through the same process. No. And we are going to use email, right? So after seeing what's going on here, what's that method? Let me try this again. Driver.find. Oh, we use the WebDriver. We need to use the web element, right? That's why it was the error. So then we are gonna click on this. Oh, sorry, we don't want to click. We want to send the keys. So let's say john.doe at gmail.com, right? We want to send that text. Okay, so after we send that text, then we want to scroll on this, right? We want to scroll because the submit button, we want to click on the submit. We want to do a little bit of scroll and then click on the submit button. How we can do the scroll? So when it comes to scrolling, I explained the JavaScript interface, executor interface that allows us to run the JavaScript code inside the Selenium. So in this case, we are going to use the JavaScript executor. If you don't know about the JavaScript executor, you may go and watch that video about this JavaScript executor that I explain what is that. So let's actually use the reference of that, and then we are going to use execute a script, and then we are going to use a window. So it's not the window dot scroll by, and then we have the method. So here are two parameters, one for the scrolling, one for the horizontal, and the other is for vertical. So we are gonna scroll up 500 pixel. So the terms of the measurement is in pixel, right? So after we scroll, what we are gonna do, then we are gonna click on the submit button, right? Let's actually identify that as well. And this one is also CSS. So let's see what the submit button. We want to find the submit button. So let's see, this one also has ID, right? This one has ID. We use the CSS selectors. And then we are gonna paste it, right? That's it. So then after we find this, what we want to do, again, going through the same process. We want an element to be clickable, and then click submit, then click on it, right? Then click on it. All right. Okay, so let's actually try this and see that if everything works, if everything works as expected, right? Let's run the script. All right, so opens up the website, and then click on the element. Click on the elements. It clicks on the element, clicks on the text box, username, email. There you go, and click on the submit. All right, so this was about the text box. When it comes to the text box, we use the send keys in order to send our keys. Sometimes if there is a default value in the text box, you can use the clear method. So let's say that if there is a default value, right, this, right, you can use the clear method in Selenium to clear this default method, right? You can say clear and then enter your value. You can also use the clear method with the text box. Okay, so that's it about the text box. So let's actually move on and now move to what? We're gonna move to checkbox. All right. So let's actually find this checkbox. Checkbox, we can also use this text box, right? There's a text. We can use this text. And so we are going to use span ID, and we are going to use this text. So what's going on? Oops, oh yeah. Why did I use ID? I'm supposed to use a text box. Text. All right, so there you go. We use the text, copy that. Let's actually, all right, so just for our information, because we are done with the text box, now we are gonna start what? Checkbox. Let's call it checkbox section. Okay, so let's start this as a checkbox, and then we got a driver, find element, and we have the what? XPath, and paste this. So then we are gonna click on this, right? So as I said, text box, and when it comes to the checkbox, you can simply use the click methods, right? That comes from the Selenium to click a checkbox. This is pretty the same way that you click in any other button. You use the click method. All right, so I'm going to use some wait method to make sure that it doesn't throw element not found exception. Okay, so I said element to be clickable, and I use a checkbox, and then I'm gonna click on this. All right, so after I click on this, the checkbox, what I want to do, I want to go and click on this this drop down, right? So that it opens the drop down. Let's actually find this drop down, how we can find this drop down. So let's see. This drop down is basically a button, right? So this is a button, and we got an ID over here, right? We got an ID, we can use that ID. So let's see. And this is the, all right, so we got the button over here, we can use this ID. All right, so let's copy this ID and let's use it over here. We got the div, we got the ID, and okay. So we find this text box, right? All right, so what we can do right now to navigate from this text box to, from this ID to button, right? This is the button. How we can do that? We can say, we can use the preceding, right? Preceding x-axis, and we are going to use a button. So we got the 7 buttons, right? So which one we are looking for? Number 3, 4, 4. This is the 4th one, right? So what we can do, as I said, we can surround the entire locators with the parentheses, and then we can use the index to locate this, all right? So this is how we locate that. All right, so this was one of the way that we can locate this element. Okay, so what we call this, this was this was the right? This was okay. So we can call this drop down. All right, so let's try this web element, and I'm gonna call this drop down. We're gonna find element XPath. Gonna copy, this is the XPath that we just found. And all right, so now what we want to do with this, we want to click on it, right? We want to click on it, and then we call it drop down dot click. All right, so after we click on this, what else we want to do? We want to click these checkboxes, right? We're gonna click, let's say we want to click on this desktop. So how we can do that? Let's find this element. So to find this element, how we can find this text box? So we got an ID over here, right? So let's actually try this ID. And its input tag is input ID. And then we got this, what's going on here? Okay, I know what let's try this again. Okay, so we're gonna use this ID. Let's try this again. Input, then we have the ID. Paste it. There you go. So we find this. Okay, all right. So now we need to come to this one, right? Come to this span. It's a checkbox. So how we can do that? So we cannot directly come to this one, right? Span. We need to go to the parent, which is this one, label, and then from label, it's easy to come down to the span. So how we can go to the label, right? If you want to go to the label, how we can do that? All right, this is a pretty straightforward. We use the parent, right? We use the parent, and then we call it label. All right, so now we're at the label, and now how we can go back to the span, right? So let's because if you look at this span is the child of this label, right? So we can use the child. We can use the child export access, and then we are going to call this span, but there are 3 span, right? So in order to select the first span, this is the first one we need to select, right? So what we can do, we can use the indexes. Opening bracket, number 1, closing bracket. There you go. All right, so we successfully find this. I'm gonna select this and I'm gonna call this desktop checkbox. All right, so let's then I'm gonna call this desktop checkbox. Checkbox, and then we're gonna use drive find by XPath. All right, so this is pretty long locator. Okay, then what we want to do, we want to click element to be clickable, and then we are gonna pass in our locator, and we want to click on it, right? So let's actually try this. So what we do here, we click on the checkbox, and then we expand the OM drop down, right? Then after expanding, we're going to click on the checkbox, desktop checkbox. All right, so let's try this. So of course, before that, it will run our script before this, right? Whatever we did, it's also going to be run. First, is start with a text box. Submit it, then click on the checkbox, and there you go. Click on the desktop checkbox, right? All right, so if you want to click on, let's say, if you want to click on this document as well, this one is also as an ID. This one is exactly, as I see, the same as the previous one. The only thing we need to do is here, get rid of this ID and replace this ID with this one. Now, if you see, we are at the, say, 101. And when you hit enter, we are on it, right? So let's copy that as well. And we want to click on this one, right, too. So it's called document checkbox. So let's call this document checkbox. Oops. Where I will find elements by XPath. And then what we do, we want to wait element to be clickable, and we're going to pass our parameter document checkbox. And what we do now, we're going to click on it, right? Okay. So beside that, we click on the checkbox. Now we are going to click on this one as well. Okay. So let's run this script one more time. All right. Opens up the website, clicks on the element, then text box. Okay, text box is done. Now move to the checkbox, click on this desktop and also documents. That's it. All right, so we're done with the checkbox, and now let's move to radio button section, right? Let's write a radio button. All right, so after this one, what we do, we are gonna click on the radio button, right? So let's actually use this text, pretty straightforward. What I do here, I'm gonna get rid of the last one. Then I'm gonna use span text, paste that, and there we go. So this is the text, and this is the ready button, right? This is a radio button, and I'm gonna call this radio or button BTN. Let's actually add button as well. Try and find elements by the XPath, paste this value, and I'm gonna use wait again. And then what we're gonna use, we're gonna expected condition class. the condition class elements to be clickable, right? Then when you're ready button, I'm gonna click on this. All right, so now there was this part that we click on the ready button, and then what we do next, we are gonna click on the, so ready button, as you know, you usually have like only one option. You can click on only one of them, right? So I'm gonna find this yes. So let's find this yes. Here we got this ID, right? We got this ID. We can use the ID, and what we can do, input, and we have the ID. All right, so there you go. Now we find this ID, right? Okay, so let's copy that, and oh, let's actually try this one more time. I want to make sure. Well, this is not all right, so we are looking on this ID. Okay, all right, so let's try this. We copy this, and this was a yes ready button. All right, so what we do here, yes radio, yes radio, that's a interesting name, and find by expat. I'm gonna paste the value. Then what we can do, we can wait for the element, expected condition, and then element to be clickable, press radio, and then we are gonna click on it, right? So let's try this. Just to save some time, I'm gonna comment this the text box and checkbox because this is not part of this. All right, so I'm gonna comment these, and then we're gonna start straight with the ready button. Okay. All right, so let's start this. Oh, I made a mistake actually. I was supposed to leave the elements, right? Because it needs to click on the element so that we can proceed. If we don't click on the elements, because the text box is actually inside the elements, so now we need to click on the elements first, then we can access the ready button. All right, so let's try this. Now we should click on the elements. What happened? Okay, let me take another look. Well, this one is elements. Yes, it's supposed to click on the element, and elements.click. So then it's gonna click on the ready button, right? And now what's going on over here? Let's actually run this again. Stop this. Run it one more time. Okay, there you go. I click on the elements, and then supposed to click on the ready button, and then click on the yes ready button. All right. Well, I didn't actually click on this one and see. Let's see what's the issue. Why it didn't click, right? Why it didn't click over here. So let's actually try this with the JavaScript, right? Let's try this with the JavaScript and see what happens. So I'm gonna do a click with the JavaScript. All right, so we're going to use our executors, and then this methods. What's the quotes to 0? Then we're going to use a click colon, and then we're going to pass our element, right? We're going to pass our element. So this is the methods that arguments dot click to click on the element. So we're going to do that with the JavaScript. All right, so let's try this. Okay, then opens up the text box. Okay, and click on the yes. Here we go. All right. So we successfully also click on the yes ready button. That's it. So we cover text box, the checkbox, and also the ready button. And this is how you can automate the text box, checkbox, and ready button. Thank you guys for watching this video. I will see you in the next one.